Hi, this is Lucy, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. It is the month of June. Welcome to Celebrating Fatherhood. This is a series that focuses on fathers as pillars of the development of a child's emotional well-being. Now, in this series, we seek to know what fathers teach their children. My guest today is a proud dad. It is all about loving, he's all about being available, he's all about being teachable, adaptable to whatever situation that life throws at him. And these are the skills then that he is passing on to the next generation. His name is Anthony Wachira. Now, having him on the show today is just helping us to understand more about how fathers can share skills with us that help us to maneuver life. It's easier said than done because fathers are beings just like us and they have their own personal challenges. It could be that a father is trying his best to be that dad that he wishes to be. But like we say in Kenyanese, situation on the ground is different, is very different. So maybe you could share with us what challenges you think fathers have in passing down skills. What is it for you? Are you a father out there and you are having challenges passing down this skill? Why are you having challenges, or why do you think you are having challenges? Is it out of the world, the way it is today, very modernized, and you're coming from a typically or a traditional cultural background where things are done in a specific way? And all this is valid because fatherhood does not come with a manual. It doesn't come with a manual. So we've got to be able to figure it out as we go along. So one of the things that we need to have is awareness. And Anthony, on this point, he is a professional, but he is a father, and we will find out from him who is he a father to and what kind of skills is he desirous to pass on to the next generation, which is then his legacy that he's going to leave. Anthony is the founder and the managing director of The Influential. It is a holistic human capital development organization that helps teams find their X factor, which is actually the unfair advantage to make transitions successful. Now that is when he is wearing his, shall we call it, professional hat, when he is being a career person, he's being a man about the things he's stepping out to do. But today it's all about him being a father and what it is that he does, how he passes on his skill to the next generation. Anthony is passionate about the youth. So he's definitely a person who can speak to what the youth is looking for and whether these skills actually make sense, whether these skills will be able to lock into somebody's life so they can make sense of it. They can make, they can be able to understand and have this awareness of whatever it is that they're trying to do in life. What are you teaching me? Are you teaching me how to be an honest person? Are you teaching me the integrity of a human being? Is that what you're teaching us to be? Or are you looking at the aspect of role model? So you're looking at someone who is a role model, and I can see that Anthony has joined us now. Karibu sana, Anthony. I've just introduced you and finished off by saying that you are passionate about the youth and that you love basketball. Welcome once again, Anthony. Today we are talking about celebrating fatherhood, and what we are focusing on is the skills that fathers teach us, because in this series we seek to know how fathers teach their children. We seek to see fathers as pillars of the development
of a child's emotional well-being. So it's kind of, if I could set up the framework of our conversation, is what are those things that a child can be able to have in a toolbox that they would be able to use to maneuver life. So we're going to hit the ground running, Anthony, but we haven't heard your voice. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very clearly. Super happy to see you here, and we can see you very clearly. So, as I mentioned, we are celebrating fatherhood, and I know that Father's Day was yesterday. Fatherhood for me is all about being a father. It's all about having the father figures in our lives. And just preparing for this season, I was thinking about my father, and he is since deceased over 30 years ago. But today, that legacy that he planted in me, which, by the way, I resisted, the things that he was teaching me, bringing to my awareness, I totally resisted. I did not see the value in half of the things that he was teaching me. But today, I see the value. Today, I'm applying, Anthony. Today, I wish that my father were alive here in this earth of us, or on this earth of ours, to be able to experience the pride that I know he would have as he saw and sees or engages in the things that I'm doing. So I also saw a Father's Day post that you did yesterday, or was the day before yesterday, Anthony, where you were celebrating your dad, and you mentioned that he taught you diligence and discipline. Yeah, but then I'm digressing. Today, it's not about our fathers. Today, it's about the skills that you as a father are able to pass down to your children. So tell us, Anthony, who are you a father to?
Thank you very much, Lucy, for having me, and I am excited to be here. I am a parent to one child. She's 13, and her name is Lulu, which is Pearl, and also in English it means a remarkable person.
Wow. Did you say Lulu in English means a remarkable
Lulu,
person?
Lulu has many very good meanings. The English meaning is a remarkable person.
Wow. Okay, and her name is Lulu. Well, if I could just share a fun fact, my nickname is Lulu, but pronounced as Lulu. Isn't that interesting? These are fun facts, and now I've put it all out on social media, and the internet does not forget. Now everybody's going to remember my name. And mine really did not have a meaning. So it's lovely to hear that Lulu actually does have a meaning. Thank you for sharing that. So when you received my invite, and thank you for accepting it, when you received my invite to come on and speak on fatherhood, you actually asked your daughter to share with you 3 things that you teach her, or that you continuously teach her, or that you've taught her. Can you give us a confirmation that's what you did?
Correct. That's exactly what I did.
Wow. So what were these 3 things? What are they?
I wrote them down so that I don't forget them. The first one was, she said, I have taught her to make do with what we have.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was that things don't always go as planned.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one was to be positive and grateful.
Wow. Now those are powerful. And that's a 13-year-old, and already she's going through the changes of life, where for her, the identity is very important now. She's trying to figure out herself. She's reached a stage in her life now. She's with other people. She's tried out different things. Identity is out there. And usually with teenagers, this is the time when it can get really bad if they do not have role models in their lives. So I'm so happy that you are there for Lulu. And so why don't we start with the first one? Yeah. Make do with what we have. Wow. How does this work out practically, Anthony? Share with us.
Thank you very much. So, of course, I think she's growing up in a very different dispensation than I did, and we definitely had less than she has. Every once in a while, she will want to do something, and we do not have enough resources. And sometimes, in fact, like this happened during a school. I think we had a school problem, and she didn't have all the things needed to solve something.
Okay.
And I asked her, "What do you have? What do you have? And if you have those things that you've told me, can you use those? Can you begin with those before we get the rest?" And it has become a principle now that you don't always have all the resources that you may need for any project, but you do need to start with what you have. Yeah.
Wow, start with what you have. You know, this for me just brings back the example of interviews, or is it looking for a job? Many a times I have interviewed individuals and a lot of variables have come to the table. I interview an individual who has met all the requirements. Let's say, for the sake of argument, there are 10 requirements, and this individual has met all of them and we tick them off. And I remember we would be looking for papers, we would be looking for qualification, we would be looking for examples, competencies, and these are all ticked off. And then you get the other person who hasn't met all the 10, but has actually shown up for the interview. And that got me thinking, Anthony, because I am that individual who, at least in the past, I have since changed my narrative that if all my ducks were not in a row, then I did not go for it. You know, short of being that OCD perfectionist, I needed to have 10 ducks. That's what they asked for. But here you are, Anthony. I like the way you have found that funny. Here you are, Anthony, talking about resources that, you know, we make do with what we have. And I love that your daughter is being made aware of this at a very early stage. Maybe you could share with us, in what other instance has she been able then to apply this skill that you're teaching her?
Thank you for that, Lucy. So, like most young children her age, there are some things that she wants that we have not planned for.
Yes.
And the moment she says that, she remembers that that's what she wants, and she probably wants it, and she wants it now.
Oh, yes.
We do not allow, and it's not in the budget or it's not in the plan. So what do? We either postpone it or start saving for it. So maybe she is excited about going to a place that has just come to her mind, or because something has reminded her of that, and I'm not able to take her. So what do we do now? We have to get creative. So I actually want to bring in a new component to this discussion, because if we can't do it now, what is it that we can do instead? So it also is an opportunity to train for creating or being creative, to figure out what you can do now if you can't do what you want to do yet.
Yes. Oh, wow. If you can't do now what you want to do yet. You know, it's just so profound, because this kind of skill is very relatable to today's world. Many a times we don't have everything that we need. Give an example of right now, the word right now that is buzzing around our country, hustlers. When hustlers begin to go out there and do their business, there are a lot of limitations in their minds that they don't have half of what it takes. And one of the things is usually finance. You know, you imagine, I don't have the money. So as a hustler, then what do I do? And I'm just pulling from your example. I don't have it now. How then do I get creative? How then do I get innovative? So have you found that your daughter now is getting creative because of not having everything lined up for her?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have found that out. She has learned to create her own fun. She has learned how to to enjoy what she has, even as she's waiting for what she wants. Because sometimes, a lot of times, I think it's a life principle. These things, they take time. Things take time. And I think we all ought to appreciate that that God created the process to help us
Yeah.
grow. And we have to figure out a way of teaching our kids and teaching ourselves that good things actually take a process before we get them.
Yeah, so true. So true. The other day I was giving an example and saying that when you plant a seed, it takes time for this process to happen. It just doesn't grow, germinate, and grow out of the soil. And therefore, your work is not to keep on going back to check. You need to trust the process. And the process here that you've mentioned is about growth. And growth being a process just brings me to the next point. And I know we'll come back to that first one, but the next point was about things don't always go as planned. Yeah. I just wanted us to tie in. And therefore, my question to you is, what do you mean when you say that? What did you mean? Or what context is it that you're presenting to your daughter, Lulu?
Great. And I really love stories. So I actually want to give one story that helped me bring this out.
Okay.
So it was post-COVID, or perhaps just in the middle of COVID, and we had not gone out for a while.
Yeah.
And we went to the mall, and my daughter really loves KFC. That's like the best treat for her. So we went to the hub, and then we decided, why don't we first do shopping, and then on our way out we'll pick up some chicken, and that's what we did. Now, unfortunately, during COVID, they were making very limited meals because there was not a huge enough number of people to buy all the food. So they were just being careful to not have food going bad. So when we finished shopping and we came to KFC, it was closed. And this is
dear me.
Who really loves chicken. Yeah. So I had no words. I didn't know what to say. So we are here with her mom and myself, not knowing what to do. This is, she was much younger. She should have been 10, thereabouts, 10, 12.
Yeah.
So she was really set. So we had to figure out what to do real quick.
Yeah.
And luckily, the supermarket at the mall has food, because we had to figure out what to do in the interim, because we have to travel back. We didn't have food at home, and she was really hungry, and we had whet her appetite in her here. So we opted for something else. It was still chicken, not as good, not KFC, but it was chicken. But it was a learning lesson. And I remember telling her, even the best laid plans sometimes just go haywire.
Yeah.
And here's a good example. We didn't mean for you to miss out on your treat. We wanted to treat you, but it just didn't work out today. And there's a chance that when we come back tomorrow or next week, now that we know, we will come a bit earlier, So there's always it was a learning moment, but also a teaching moment, because many, many, many other things have not gone according to plan, even when we have planned very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a father, and in that situation, your child is hungry. That's already a trigger point for you, if there's any. At that point, the promise that you gave that she would get what she wanted, again, did not happen. As a father, you're not delivering, you're not providing. Again, that could be a trigger point. The other point is, she then has an argument here. Guys, we said we were going for KFC. Why did we have to go shopping first? If we had gone to KFC, this would not be an issue right now. And what I'm trying to allude to here is that things happen in life to parents, and allowing them an opportunity to respond with a teachable moment. And this is what you did. It seemed, I wasn't there, but I want to believe that you were calm and responding to her and choosing to make it a teachable moment. So one of the things that I like to bring out is the examples of the corporate world. Because in the corporate world, when you have all these plans, you've got to have crisis management in place. Whether it is in a manual that is a hard cover manual, or whether it is on soft on an intranet, it is something that can be assessed when something happens. And when this happens, is usually something has gone wrong. It has not gone according to plan. But the fact that you talk about it being a teachable moment is powerful for fathers. And this is what you did. So what lesson do you think, bringing up that things don't always go as planned, do you think that she then has in her conscious or in her subconscious?
So what I believe it is helping her learn, and I have heard this word coming from her, is the word resilient. Resilient. And usually I like to put two words in front of the word resilient.
Yeah.
So because things didn't go the way we had planned, we have to adapt. So adaptability is one skill that I really try to teach. And agility, you adapt and you adapt quickly so that you can build that resilience that she's talking about.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of three. According to me, I think they go together.
Yeah. And how can she use this later on in life? Because if she's anything like me, this is me having a conversation with my dad and maybe just obliging him by listening, not realizing that later in life it's a skill I'm going to need. For now, I'm pacifying dad. I'm listening to what he's saying out of courtesy and good manners. But what do you think is going to be the positive outcome of this moment or this lesson, this skill that you're teaching your daughter?
Okay. Hey, good question. My prayer, my hope is that she will translate it to a lot of issues. And one of them, of course, is when she leaves home and she is living on her own and working, she will make plans. She will want to work in a place where everything goes according to plan or everything goes right. But we who are older we know that that's a wish. We have to deal with human factors. We have to deal with legal factors. There's so many issues that will bombard your comfort zone, and she has to learn to live with a plan A and adaptability. So there is a plan B. You have to learn plan A does not always make the plan, yes. But what if it doesn't work? What if? So you have a plan A and a couple of options just in case plan A doesn't work.
We keep on hearing about those plan A's and plan B's, and they do work. However, in today's world, there's a lot of awareness on mental health. And we have been hearing cases of now stress has become such an, shall I say, an overrated word. Because, Anthony, between you and I, stress is very healthy for us. Stress is healthy because it gives us a situation to know that something more can be done, something better, or like you're saying, it's a teachable moment. But stress, when it is left without being managed or handled well, leads to depression. When we allow it to sit with us, I like to use the example of, and I use this because I attended a course once on positive intelligence, and the gentleman was talking about putting your hand on a stove. And you know what happens, the stove has a flame. So when you put your hand there, you lift it off because you are uncomfortable with what the stove is doing to your hand. And the question is, why did you take your hand off? Or why are you leaving your hand there? There is an awareness. So when it comes to the mental health, there's two aspects. There's the internal and there's the external environment. So what you are teaching your daughter now, when we're talking about plan A, plan B, plan C, will help her to deal with the stresses or the depression of life that doesn't lead to suicide. There's too much of those statistics going around, and not only in our country, but worldwide. And I believe that, Anthony, as a father, what you're doing intentionally teaching your daughter, this is a skill that when she does get faced with this, because she will, things will go wrong. She will second guess herself. That will be her own internal issues. She will say to herself she's not good enough. She will say to herself she doesn't amount to anything. She will say to herself that she doesn't understand or she's a slow learner. She's going to label herself many things. But what dad taught her, that things don't always go as planned, and that what can we do today? There's also the external aspect. You mentioned it there, of the external aspects of things that can happen to you. And this can throw you off course. What are your thoughts when you think about individuals who did not have the benefits of a father or a fatherhood figure when it comes to matters mental health?
Wow, it's a difficult place for them to be if somebody was not conditioned or trained how to deal with the external. When they happen, and they will happen, they can be overwhelming. They can be overpowering, because this person does not have the mental fortitude to deal with the external, then they can crush them. Yeah. And my thoughts are that fathers and parents and father figures, we ought to be very present, and we ought to be very deliberate to even reach out to people that are younger, because there's some. I attended a course where we were told that we were misfathered and unfathered. So in some cases, our father figures did not do what they should have done. Yeah. And so we have not been taught some skills that we should have been taught and conditioned. But the amazing thing about it is that we can learn those things. Yeah. And what we need to be teaching our younger people, actually everybody, is to concentrate a lot on what we can influence. Stephen Covey, the writer of 7 Habits, talks about concentrating on what we can influence, the circle of influence. Yeah. And the more we concentrate on it, the more we actually uncover hidden resources that we didn't know existed that can help us increase it and decrease those concerns, that external environment that we don't have a lot of control over.
Yeah. That is very deep, and thank you for sharing that, because this is what we are facing today. And anybody that you would speak to who's going through depression, they all have different reasons why they're where they are. And it is the work of the counselors, of the medics around them, then to bring it to the attention that it starts with you. It starts with you. Your father, your parent, your guardian, your fatherhood figure did the best that they could do with what they had. Now, whether it was out of ignorance that they did what they did, whether it was intentional, that was their choice. They've lived their lives. This is your chance now. What are you going to do with what you have? And that's why I said, I know we're going to go to the first one that we looked at, which was making do with what we have. So yes, we have fathers. And if we do not have fathers, some of us do not have fathers, whether they've passed on, whether they've misfathered us, whether they've unfathered us, as you have said, whatever it is that we find ourselves in that situation, what can we do with what we have? We don't have a father in our life. Then perhaps we seek father figures. That's what we need to be doing. Otherwise, we will be left in a depressed state saying, my father did not show up. My father was not there for me. Well, that was him. That was then. This is now, Anthony, you know. So thank you for sharing with us the resource that you are allowing your daughter to experience. And maybe at this point, she may not be able to interact with it fully, but you have planted a seed. You have planted a seed. Yeah, you have planted a seed. I mean, I'm proof. I was not listening to half of the things he said, but today I live by those principles, and it's very hard to shake them from me. Well, moving on to the last one, you speak about being positive and grateful. Now, Anthony, what does being positive and grateful mean in a world of instant gratification?
Fantastic question. And I actually want to ping back to making do with what we have so that we are positive, because we don't always have everything that we want, and sometimes we don't have everything that we need. That's the reality of life. Sometimes we don't have that. And being positive for me goes hand in hand with gratitude, because when I'm positive, I'm looking for the silver lining. There is always a silver lining if someone is willing to look. And gratitude for me coincides or goes hand in hand with that old song, Count Your Blessings and Name Them One by One.
Yes.
I ask people to become noticers. I actually say that I've learned to become a noticer.
Yeah.
A noticer is someone who notices the things that they should be grateful for. Breath of life. During COVID, I actually remember a friend of mine told me just the other day how he contracted COVID, and he's a man I've known since childhood. And he couldn't breathe. He could not breathe, something that we take for granted. He had to get assisted to breathe. And we take that for granted. For him today, he's able to give thanks for breath because he knows it is a privilege.
Yes.
My family went through a difficult season not so long ago, health related, and we have now learned to do things for health from a very deep point, because if you don't have health, you're in a very difficult position. You can't work, you're not happy, and we take those things for granted. So by becoming a noticer, you are actually able to give thanks for so many things that you ordinarily we would take for granted.
Wow, that is really powerful. That is so powerful that I'm even moved at this point to claim the things that I am grateful for. And I'm a huge gratitude person. I believe that is an attitude everybody should have, because you're right, we don't always get what we want or what we need, but we do have things. I mean, if you look and you take an audit, you do have stuff in your hand, but you are human, and you're looking at the two that are in the bush.
Yeah.
And I know I have massacred that saying right here and now, but yes, you get what I mean. And I just want to give an example, Anthony, if you can oblige me for a moment here. Tuesday Talks at 3 is turning 3 on the 23rd of June. So that's just in a couple of days to come. So in the last 1 week or so, I have been very cognizant of my journey. And I feel the pain that I felt when I started out. And I see where I am today. I'm not where I want to be. And I'm those individuals who keeps on driving, pushing self, expecting more. I believe in the consistent improvement. And therefore, I like to measure my effort every day. And when I feel there was no effort, I really feel empty. But in the last few weeks, I've been made aware of how far I have come in 3 years. And I just want to say that I am grateful for the opportunities that those challenges have accorded me, because challenges hit me. I was one of those hustlers. This was born just before COVID, and I had plans and huge plans on plans. And then COVID happened. And I will be honest with you, for 2 weeks, I was floored. I couldn't move. And I want to believe that I was depressed. I was clinically depressed at that time. And that was my immediate environment. But then I picked the challenges that I was going through and I turned them into opportunities. And today I'm here every Tuesday, consistently for the last 3 years, presenting. I mean, I'm grateful for that challenge. I'm also grateful for the connections that I make on these network that I have built. And it has increased today I've learned so much from you, Anthony. I've learned so much, and I would not have learned this if I had not put myself out. So I am grateful for these connections. And last but not least, I am grateful for the new ways of doing things. Now, I am analog. That's my second name. When I was in my corporate world, I had younger people doing digital for me. Today, if we were running a race, and I'm talking about a dash, 100 meters race, I am possibly coming out in top 3, because the new ways, I have embraced them. I am learning. I have gone for online classes. I follow people. I learn more. I'm just grateful for these new ways, and that my mind is in a, like you say, teachable. And I'm grateful for this. So thank you for making it a skill that you are passing on to your daughter. Now, how are you already seeing the outcome of this skill when it comes to your daughter? What habits is she demonstrating towards being positive and grateful?
So being positive is a work in progress because there's some things that she doesn't really like. Being grateful, we are doing much, much better because we take turns to just say, when we are praying, we take turns to say what we are grateful for. I actually have something.
That is beautiful.
Thank you very much. So I think I got this from an online source. It's called Rose Thorn Bud. It's just a way of being more grateful and not ignoring what's going on.
Yes.
So you start by saying two things that you are grateful for. So those represent the petals of a rose, two things that you are really grateful for. Then the thorn represents something that you are struggling with.
Yes.
It's something you're cognizant. Here I'm not happy, but I'm still grateful for those two. Then a bud will become a rose. It is something that you are trusting. It's about to bud into a rose, and it really helps because you're not ignoring what's going on, especially when someone has something that's disturbing them. You're mentioning it, but you're ending on a positive note.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Very profound. And I'd really like to know more about that. If you could just drop it on my WhatsApp and I'll be able to look it up and see how I can also use it. Thank you so much for those skills. Well, those are 3 skills. And like I was sharing before you came on that your mantra is all about loving. It's all about being available. It's all about teachable moments. It's all about adaptability. And we have seen that. And what I've picked as 3 takeaways from you are that we need to be resourceful. So fathers can teach this skill to their children. We need to be intentional about teachable moments. And this can be taught to our children. We need to become noticers. Yeah. I absolutely loved that one today. Thank you for that. So what is your call to action to dads as we come to the end of our session today?
For me, the challenge that I want to lead the dad is to be available. And available is meaningful, intentional time. Spend intentional time with your kids. There's no substitute for that. And I have learned that practically. I work from home most of the time. I homeschool, so I'm really around my daughter a lot. But I do often get work outside, and you will see her struggle with me being away, which is so interesting because I'm always here and I've had a job or jobs. I've been employed before where I've even left the country. But now that she is used to that presence, it has become commonplace, and I really love that. And comparing how I grew up, most of our dads were not very present. I'm challenging the men. We need that masculine touch. So we need to be very available. We need also to be teachable because we are learning from these young people and from. Yeah, there's so much to learn even as we parent. I like something you said in one of your shows that there is no manual for parenting. Yeah. There is no manual for parenting. We need to be teachable. Yeah. And the most important one for dads, we need to tell our children that we love them. My dad learned that way later, but I'm so glad that he's doing it. Yeah. We need to learn to do it from very early.
Yeah. Well, we give thanks for fathers like you who are resourceful, who are intentional about teaching, and who are noticers. We give thanks for fathers like you who give other fathers hope that we can still do this. There's no manual. It's just about choice. Thank you so much for joining me here today on Tuesday Talks at 3. I really do appreciate you, Anthony.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right. To my audience, the recording of this session will be available later on this evening on our YouTube channel, which is LMC Consultancy. As I mentioned when I'm speaking to Anthony, Tuesday Talks turns 3 this month, and we have lined up giveaways. Now, the first winner got her gift or rather her mention yesterday, and she won this book. So Matilda Sifuna, if you are watching and you've not read my message on IG, this is your book. I just need to hear from you how you'd like me to autograph it so that I can autograph it for you right there and find out how I can get this book to you. Congratulations. Today, we are giving away 1 hour coaching session. And how do you qualify? All you have to do, and this is valued at 5,000 shillings, all you have to do is get onto this IG page and share with me 2 takeaways from any episode of Tuesday Talks at 3 and how it has impacted you. So you're sharing 2 takeaways from any episode of Tuesday Talks at 3 and how it has impacted you, and you go into a draw to win 1 hour coaching session worth 5,000 shillings with me. Well, our next super dad is David Moridi, and his mantra is creating an open space for each other, and you do not want to miss this. You see how powerful it has been with Maxwell, with Mongera, with Anthony today, and we will close off celebrating fatherhood this June with David Moridi. In the meantime, look out for the great birthday offers on our social media pages as we build up towards Tuesday Talks turning 3 on the 23rd of June. There, I said it. It's such a tongue twister, but I'm happy I was able to say it. I'm grateful. Let us help build each other. And until then, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.